Hello, friends. Welcome back. I have returned from Mexico City, and I just wanted to share all the wisdom, all the beautiful golden nuggets, and how I really brought intimacy more into my life when I was traveling. So I just wanted to say how beautiful being in another country really is. It's like this, I get so lit up by being in a strange place, because I feel like anything's possible. You really get to step outside your normal like routine and the normal ways of being because you're thwarted into a totally different world, especially being in Mexico, which is like so grounding and beautiful and passionate and all these different things that are going on. So I just wanted to say how much I appreciated the opportunity and that I'm so happy that I said yes to myself, because so often we shy away from saying yes to big things and like, how is that going to happen? And why am I doing that? And it always comes back to being like super intentional. Okay. You can do anything in your life. You have that ability. You have your beautiful power as a human to choose what you want. But when you can be intentional, and I talked about this before, but like when you can be intentional about where you're going, why you're doing something, it honestly makes your experience that much greater. And I dare say more blissful. And what I mean by that is like, I allowed myself to play, allowed myself to be. I wasn't this like rigid, like, oh, itinerary, got to follow to a T. And in fact, there was an opportunity for me to say, oh my goodness, this doesn't work for me. We had a scheduled session on a rooftop patio, and I was all for it. And I was like, yeah, let's go do that. But for whatever reason, in the moments we were supposed to go, my body was like, no. So to be intentional with like, okay, I'm going to go honor myself, my body first. And then knowing I had this like other opportunity later during the day, I was like, my intention is to be at this part. So if I had said yes to the rooftop, I probably wouldn't have had the energy to go to this Taj Mahal adventure, which was like honestly the best thing in the world. It's a sweat lodge, and it's like resetting. It's like rebirthing self. So you let go of your fears, like all these things. And I really wanted to do that because I can plan and schedule a strategy session anytime, right? So more or less just hunkering down on your priorities, like what's really important to you, not because so and so down the street said it was important, but like because you authentically feel it's important to enough to be intentional with why you're doing it, where you're going, all the things. What other opportunities were there? There was like, you know, I had a really what I would consider a painful day, which funny enough was the same day I wasn't feeling well. I had jumped on some other calls, some coaching calls that I had around healing my lineage, healing the things that are just like not really mine. And that's like another conversation we're going to have because damn, is it good. I'm going to put that in there. Lineage. Okay. And it was like, I knew this was going to be uncomfortable. Like, that's the whole point of transformation and change is like, it's going to be a little uncomfortable. It's going to bring some things up for you. But I never imagined it being so painful. And it's so interesting to me because what I mean by painful is like, my literal body felt so broken and sad. And it was like, oh, like, it was just like to that degree of like, I didn't want to be here anymore. Like I was just like, I don't want to be here. I want to go home. And it was so like, oh, but the difference with that is instead of playing a victim, instead of being like, help me, change me, fix me, I reached out to Rachel, who was my coach, Rachel Melinda. She's fantastic. Highly recommend any time you can spend with this person. And I reached out and I said, ask me questions. And she's like, well, what's going on? And I was like, I'm feeling XYZ. I'm like feeling really pain induced. I can't think straight. Like, I'm just like, I'm not in a space of like anything. And she really asked me, she's like, can you just be with that? And I was like, I don't know. And it was so interesting because the moment I saw the message come through, this is through a text, her message read 1010. And for me, which is another thing I'm going to talk about, is numbers. So I'm really into angel numbers. And I feel a lot of support with angel numbers, meaning like 333, 222, any sequence of numbers, continuous of 3 or more. And I just felt instantly like this is meant to be, this is meant to happen, even though it forking sucks. Okay, like it really did. I wouldn't wish that on anyone other than the fact of intention being what's available to you on the other side is so beautiful. So it got me out of my like, oh, mindset. And I was just being with those emotions, being with the grieving of my old self. Like, I think that's what it really was. It was like, I was grieving my old self. I no longer relate to these ways of being. Incrementally, quantum leap, doesn't matter. I'm still changing. I'm still transforming from the old ways I used to be, which is something to acknowledge yourself for. So if you're watching this and you're like, okay, yeah, but like, what else? Just pause for a moment, because I know, I can guarantee you there's times in your life where you don't acknowledge the big things, the little things, any sort of thing that is different from the time before. And the more we can recognize those things, the more we can be like, hey, I'm okay. I've done that hard thing before. I can do it again. It won't be fun, but I can do it again. You actually have a brain nerve and cells that recognize that time where you defeated something, where you overcame something, where you prove to your brain that you can do hard things. Even if it's not related, it's still the action of pushing past your comfort zone, which is going to miraculously help in any sort of transformation or any sort of change in your life, or hard or feeling pain or whatever it is. It's just, why aren't we, my brain goes, why aren't we looking more towards what we can do versus what we can't do, or what we believe we can't do? Because we can do anything in hindsight. Okay. In reality, we can do anything. What stops you, what stops me, even, and I'm doing this work forever, like it never ends, my friends, is that the more you can transform, or the more you can say yes, the more you can push past, the more is available to you. Because your ego, that thing that keeps you stuck, is designed that way to keep you safe and the same. It doesn't like when you do things out of the norm. You don't have a pattern recognition for those things. So it'll always resort back. That's why when you go to the next level, you're still, I thought I dealt with this. No, no, no. You're going to deal with it again and again and again and again and again. But then you'll remember, you beat it before, you'll beat it again. You'll transform it again. So my invitation to you is being intentional, yes, but also acknowledging, even if the intention don't go as planned, you're going to recognize yourself. I had a client the other day and he was like, oh, I usually like do this thing and it's not satisfying. And I said, it's not satisfying for who? Because what I witnessed was absolutely beautiful. Our intention was to push past your comfort zone, and we did. But you still have a high expectation of yourself, not allowing yourself to really be in the energy and be in that acknowledgement phase, which didn't provide him much leeway in like being okay with change, not being okay with, the current circumstance. You can always change your current circumstance. That's my takeaway. So go out there, go see where you're resistant to change, go see where you're not being intentional with something, and just try it on. See if it makes a difference for you as a scientist, okay? Don't take what I'm saying for like face value if you don't want to. My suggestion, my invitation is to go try it yourself. Action. Actions where it happens. We can transform our beliefs all we want, but if we're not taking actions in alignment with what we are transforming our beliefs on, you'll always go back. Okay? So thank you for the time. I know it was a quick one, but I just wanted to interject and say, hey, I love you so much. If any of this resonates, please feel free to message, reach out. We love hearing from you. We love to know what goes on in your lives so we can be more relevant to you as well. So like, share, subscribe if it feels good, and I will see you next time.